So, today we will talk about Purusha Arthas. There are four commonly known Purusha Arthas. The Sanskrit word Purusha Artha is combined of two other words. Purusha in the context means a man, a human, or people, and Artha means in that context some occupation, the way of living, the goal. So, on the ground, on Indian philosophy, commonly we have four Purusha Arthas: Dharma, Artha, Kama, and moksa. Dharma means the way of living that is acting accordingly with Vedic injunctions, with the truths, eternal truths that you can find in all Vedic scriptures. Dharma, living according to the religious principles. Artha means, in that context, because we said that Artha means a way of living, some system, but Artha means also being rich. Like in Sweden, you have this word welfare. So Artha is like welfare. So live a very prosperous, to conduct a very prosperous way of living. Kama, enjoying some pleasures of life. The pleasures of life, they are in harmony with the Vedic injunctions. And at last, moksa, understanding that the dharma, artha, kama, describing a religious way of life inside the paradigm of material life. So, there is a moksa, meaning to get rid of all this, to get enlightened in spiritual wisdom, to get some spiritual realization, to understand who we are. So, and those four goals like that in a kind of existential hierarchy. Dharma goes first, is the root of everything. Living a very nice dharmic life, we can live very rich life on every plane. We can have some pleasures of life, and then we can aspire for spiritual identity, for spiritual understanding. Because those three, dharma, artha and kama, are on material platform. Even if they involve some religious rituals. So, the life you are conducting according to those principles are still on the material platform. So first, with moksa, we are getting rid of it. You are starting a spiritual life. So religious life and spiritual life, commonly in the West, we think they are the same, but they are not the same. Spiritual life means living in the spiritual world. Religious life generally means living accordingly to the dharmic prescriptions, but it's still a material level of living. So, inside the system, there are different classes of people in the society: Brahmins, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, accordingly to inherent capabilities and longings. Which has to do with our experiences from many, many previous lives. So, these four groups of society, Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras, constitute the human society. If you are acting in our everyday life accordingly to our predominant quality, then you are acting in harmony with our destiny. It's not that often that it happens. Usually there are no pure Brahmins, pure Kshatriyas, pure Vaishyas and pure Shudras. Though social classes are generally mixed up nowadays. Some has predominant Brahminical quality, but lot of influence from Kshatriya way of living, or Vaishya way of living, or Shudra way of living. I mixed up. It makes that even if we can be born in a Brahmin family, we are not able to act as a Brahmin. Because maybe there are other qualities that are predominant in our character. And then, formally being born Brahmin, meaning the religious-minded people, we can act in another mode. Have this economical mind, or mercantile mind, or something like that. Brahmin class of people, right? People who have to lead the society in the way of life according to the dharmic principles. They are priests. The Kshatriyas, the administrative and military class. They see that social life, that everybody in the society is acting according to the rules and regulations prescribed for everybody. The economists, the administrators, the judges, policemen, and so on. The Vaishyas is a mercantile class. They do business on different levels according to capacity. So they are very rich Vaishyas and there are Vaishyas that just can do it for living. But still, their mind is around the money and how to make business. And the Shudras are people who have no so much interests in those things we told before. They just want to work mainly with their own hands, and they are satisfied with that. But I said before, all those classes are mixed up. No pure representatives. And then the Holy Scripture says there are 4 periods in our life. Brahmachari life, meaning student life, like let's say from 5th to 25th year of age. You should just live with your spiritual master and be trained to be a responsible person, an enlightened person, who acting according to the Vedic injunction, to the rules and regulations. After that, when you are 25, you are allowed to marry, to get family, raise children, mainly dreaming about having son, because Vedic scripture says that when the father dies, so to make him free from some impurities, so the son, mainly son, should do a ceremony called Shraddha, go to the holy place called Gaya and then offer to the forefathers. This period of life is between 25 and 50 years of age. Then, when you are 50 years old, you should starting to think to live the married life. You can still live together with your life partner, with your husband or your wife, but you should maybe abstain from excessive sex life or sex life at all, treating each other as friends, helping each other in a spiritual quest, which should begin at that moment. This should also take another 25 years of age. So, when you are 75, it's time to leave all the worldly manners. Leave your wife or your husband and become a sannyasi. Start living alone, begging for your food and contemplating the spiritual matters. That's the order of Vedic society. 4 classes of people: Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas and Shudras. and for periods in life. Brahmachari, student life, grihastha, married life, vanaprastha, the man living in the forest. Van means forest. Of course, we can translate this in nowadays as a living in just some place outside the society. And then sannyasi, just going from place to place, freely, not staying a longer period in some place, begging for your everyday food, taking only as much as you need just to keeping soul and body together. Now we are talking about ideal situation. According to Vedic philosophy, you are now living in the Iron Age, called Kali Yuga. There's a story telling that just like 5,000 years ago, the entity called Kali came and mistreated a celestial cow. Just not considering no rules and regulations. Telling that from now on, I'm the Lord of this earth. Everything will get on the devolutionary way, meaning everything will be less. We will be weaker, we will be much more mean than before. Our intentions mostly will be bad quality, worse and worse in the course of time, up to the period when we will become like animals. At the end of this period, we just counted like some 427 years. If you take out, if you add 5,000 years, it will make 432,000 years. Human years, but in the era of God it will be like 432 years, 427 years. Right. So, that is how the society looks out now and how it will be going for it. According to Vedic thought, the life for the human beings and for every being on this earth is conducted in a right way, is according with the laws of God. So according to Vedas, this material world was created by a creator God, or a demigod if you want to use that word, God with small g, just to make all conditioned souls who wanted to enjoy independent life from God to enjoy. And this world, this universe called technique the Brahmanda, have different stages of development. And it exists as long as this creator God Brahma lives. And he lives like 100 years, celestial years, meaning some billions of years. After one day of Brahma, it comes one pralaya, means devastation, end of also life in this universe, that is as long, this devastation is as long as a day, meaning one night of Brahma. Everything will be partly destroyed. And then, when this Brahma wakes up again to a new day, it will be new creation day. Everything will develop, will grow, then will be dissolution. It will become old, and then it will disappear. And so it will be going day after day. And after Brahma is finished with his material life, after approximately 100 years, it will be a great pralaya, great devastation, mahapralaya. Then everything comes back into the God. Nothing exists, only God exists. What wasn't finished in this universe has to wait until new creation day will come. And then those souls who are sleeping there with God, they will again wake up to a new existence and continue their travel. There is no end to this. It's coming and going, coming and going. That's why there is in Indian philosophy a theory of moksa. To be free from this unending circle of ends and beginnings, deeds and deaths. And there are prescribed some ways how to get rid out of this. So there are processes of different yogas, like karma yoga, jnana yoga, bhakti yoga, meaning yoga by doing a proper activity, is karma yoga. Jnana yoga, by philosophical speculation, to understand who we are and what is our inherent nature, what to do with our lives, who are we. And then there is Bhakti Yoga, who shortly speaking says, the only thing worth living is a universal love. On a personal ground, because the Creator is a person, and we are also persons. Everybody, every one of us has this feeling of his own identity. That is a proof we are persons. So, if you're meditating in different yogic schools, disciplines, the usually known yoga system for the Western world is Advaita Vedanta, meaning, in a common language, everything what exists is God, even we are God also. But because of illusion, we forgot that we are God. So, if you are practicing meditation, then one day we will get enlightenment and we will understand that we are Brahman, meaning the all-pervading, God-like entity, and that everything is one. But we should talk today about fifth Purusha Artha. What I told up to now was about how it's going in the frame, in the ramification for four Purusharthas. But there is a fifth Purushartha, which is called Krishna Prema, which is called love of God. And this one is the real thing. Because it says shortly, there are living entities and there is God. And there is connection between the two. And this connection, if natural and pure, works like that. That living entity is serving God with no other motivation than pure love. Living entity knows it's her duty, it's its duty to love his creator. And the living entity knows he is not the God. He knows, or she knows, it's a part of God. Therefore, in the Bengal school of Vishnuism, Vishnu means God, Vishnuism means teaching about God, how to connect to Him, how to love Him, how to act accordingly with His nature. So, this school of Bengal Vishnu is called Gaudiya Vaishnava school. Gaudiya means Bengal. So, the name is School of Vaishnava Teachings from Bengal. This school is our school. We are representing this. And this school says there is dualism. God is one entity and we are another entity. Qualitatively, we are the same. He is a pure spirit and we are also, as a living entity, we are pure spirit. But there are differences which is quantitative, meaning God, Creator, has all good qualities, all qualities, without no limitations. Whereas we, living entities, have some limitations. God cannot be captured by Maya, meaning illusion, but we are prone to be catched by illusion. If we have this inclination to enjoy our existence on our own, not acting accordingly with what is our right nature, which is, as I said before, loving and serving God without no other motivations than pure love itself. So there are different creation stories, or stories telling how it all came about. And one story goes like that. When God wants to expand, wants to experience himself and the multiplier of his energies, then he creates a Mahamaya. Mahamaya, shortly called also Maya, but it's not correct, should be Mahamaya, is his external energy. And she has to create this universum together with Shambhu, which is also called Shiva. So, this Maya creates this material universum. It's called Pradhana or Mahatattva. All this which is material in the whole Brahmanda, the whole universe. And then living entities who are beginningless, because they are sparks of God consciousness, they are in the place called Brahma Jyoti, meaning a rise of the God's body. And they are gathered on the line between spiritual and material worlds. Because the reality is like that. Three or four parts is a spiritual reality. 1/4 part is a material world, which was created and administered by this Maya. So, the living entities which are eternal, they stand there and they have this capability to see both forms of reality. Spiritual universe and material universe. They stand there on the shore, on the borderline, which is called Tatashta. Tatashta meaning some place on the border between two different places. More specific, it means there is an ocean or river, and there is a land, earth, and the place where the earth and ocean are meeting together, this is called demarcation line, or Tatashta. So, therefore, this is place of marginal place. Therefore, it says that there are three different entities. God, who is completely spiritual, the material world, who is material, and the living entities who are spiritual by nature, but who can act and be influenced, but this what is material by Maya, by illusion. So, when those entities are on this standing at the demarcation line, they can look into the spiritual reality or to the material world. If in that moment desire will come to enjoy in this material world, then immediately in that moment they will be catched by illusion, by Maya, they will be thrown into the material world and undergo different experiences in this material world, which are four mainly. You have to be born, you have to be sick, you have to die, and of course, before you die, you have to suffer a lot. But then, because God, according to Vedic thought, is a loving person, so he will never leave his children alone. So, therefore, from time to time, if there is a need, he comes down personally from spiritual world to this material world to give education and show the way to get free from this unending misery in this material world. This is what he sometimes does. In Vishnuism, in Vishnu Dharma, in Vishnu religion, in Vishnu philosophy, we say that 10 of such avatars. They came in different times. Mainly, they can be grouped in two groups. There are 10 avatars. 5 avatars, those who came first, they symbolize biological evolution. And the next 5, they symbolize, you could say, cultural evolution. So, to begin with, Matsya, Avatar, the first one. There are stories around this, but we are not going to go to this because then we could never finish this class. So, anyway, the first avatar is a Matsya avatar. Small fish who became a big one and saves the world from some danger. On the symbolical platform, meaning all life began in the oceans and the fishes are the first living entities. Or entities living in the seas are the first on the evolutionary way. Then the next avatar is Kurma, turtle. Turtle belongs to the amphibian family also, but partly can act on the ground. So, on the mystical ground, it said this Kurma comes to help gods and demons to do some endeavor and holds with his bag the earth and some great mountain so that they can finish their job. But on the symbolical meaning platform, it means coming up into existence those creatures who can live simultaneously in water and on the land. Then the third avatar is yes.
The tenth.
The third.
The third is the boar.
Yes. So the bird incarnation. It also started around this, so he has to take out earth from the deep of the cosmic sea and do it on his task and this way saving it. But on the symbolical platform, it means the living entities with a, how we call it in Swedish? With a backbone and no.
Spine.
Yeah.
Vertebrates.
Yes. They come into existence. Then the next incarnation is Narasimha. Half lion, half man incarnation. There's a story going around also. He saved his devotee who became attacked by his cruel father, and so he comes out from some column and saves the boys and make sure that everything in the universe is again placed in the right place. So on the symbolical meaning, on the symbolical platform, it means that some kind of consciousness, higher consciousness, is coming to an existence. Therefore, half lion, half animal, half man, representing here a higher consciousness. And then we have fifth avatar, which is called Vamana. How do you say in English? The dwarf incarnation. So they started around also. There was gods and demons were in disagreement. So just to help gods, so this Vamana appeared and asked some powerful demon for 3 steps of land, and suddenly it became miraculous, very big, and covered with 2 steps the whole universe, and with the 3rd step he placed on the head of this demon king, and covering the whole of existence. So this is a mythological explanation. The biological explanation means the hominids came into existence. The entities who was like humans, but not human yet. And after this, they could go, they were small, but they could go with on 2 legs and so on and so on. Meaning, it was just like being of this hominid species. Then 6th incarnation, Parashurama. Parashurama means Rama with the axe. There is a story going around about this also. There were some unrighteous kings. They offended family of this Parashuram, so he decided to take revenge and killed 21 generations of these evil kings 21 times he came and destroyed them. And he is portrayed usually with this metal axe. But it is not quite so. In reality, this axe was a stone axe, meaning on the symbolical level, paleolithical, paleolithic or Neolithic people. This stage in our history. And then next avatar is Rama, who is portrayed as a righteous king. And he is there with his Sita, with his wife Sita, with his brothers, and with a servant coming from the society of monkeys, Hanuman. But there is a story, again, there is a powerful demon called Ravana, who lives in the Lanka, and by making by satisfying Brahma, by his tapasya, by his yogic life, he gets a boon to never be killed after some conditions that we make him sure that he is invincible and that he will be living also forever. So therefore he decides to ignore the law. So he kidnaps Sita by his mystical powers, take her to the Lanka and keep her as a prisoner, waiting for her to become his woman. But she's refusing, so he fights with Rama, and at the end he loses the fight, and mighty hero Hanuman the monkey, with the help of the army of bears, also bears and monkeys in the Ram's army, they win over Ramana, and Sita gets back to her husband, and after some details about the story. But on a symbolical level, again, we have coming up of monarchical way of ruling the society. Meaning, some chieftains are there, kings are there. So, if you want, we can see at the story like this. There was a flying monkey, Hanuman, because he could fly over the continents and things like that. And Rama had also to his help the army of bears and monkeys. But if you want to, you can see on this event, on the symbolical platform, which could look something like that. There was a time in the human history when society was trying to find a way of social life that could give everybody happiness. So, we know from history that people in some prehistory, and even in the historical times, every group, every had a totem. Totem meanings they were called people belonging to the clan of bear, or people belonging to the clan of monkeys. So, if you want, you can see this as an information about some distant event in our prehistory when we started to creating groups, taking some animals as a guide to the world of the unknown, and in the later period upcoming kingdoms with a ruling king who is righteous and see that everybody in his kingdom will get treated accordingly to the Vedic laws. And then after Ram you have Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So this Krishna is a very important person in our tradition. So he comes down as an avatar just to satisfy his devotees. Of course, it takes different forms. So he comes here for save his devotees from the dangers and fighting some demons and ending the unpleasant situations. And at the same time, he is also very enjoyable person, living quite frivolously in a countryside, most of the time, up to 15 years of age, just playing around with his friends and with the gopis, milkmaids of this Raja. And then he has to move to fight some evil cousin called Kamsa, and then he becomes he reinstates his grandfather on the throne, usurped by Kamsa, and then he moves on another way, his own way, creating his own kingdom called Dwaraka, where he lives with his 16,800 wives and taking part also in a great Mahabharata war, giving satisfaction to different kinds of his devotees. On symbolical level, we can understand this incarnation as upcoming of higher consciousness in humans. Arts are coming up, different skills, pleasures. So, Krishna, in this symbolical way, are representing this period in our experience. And then you have Buddha, who, as we all know, became dissatisfied that Vedic rules and regulations and injunctions were neglected, that all classes in society became degenerated, especially the Brahmin class, the priesthood, who should guard the Vedic values. They just made up their own way of they created some religious rites, and that mainly was concentrated around making hecatombs of innocent animals, mostly cows. They were slaughtered and then eaten up, and as a following of this process, everything became in the society well degraded. So, this Buddha, he came just to show that is not right. So he came and he gave teachings that, okay, this religion which is described in the Vedas, we should just forget all about this. It is just it's not worth our time of our existence. It just takes our time, but we're not getting anything from doing this yagyas, these offerings, and they are also bloody and very inhuman and immoral, and so on and so on. So he gave his teachings, and he created monasteries for the monks and nuns, where his teachings were provided. On the symbolical level, it can be easily understood that Buddha, his upcoming or incoming, describes this time in evolution of human mind and human existence, when we started to put great value to the mercy and empathy to all living beings. And then it was 9 incarnation, and now is the 10th incarnation, the Kalki, the one who is portrayed sitting on the white horse with some kind of sword in his hand, and he will come at the end of this Kali Yuga, and he will destroy all evil, and only those who are righteous will survive. And he will put at the end of this creation everything in the right position. This is what Vedas said. On the symbolical platform, we can understand that this upcoming of Kalki means the time in our history, which has begun already now, when we are starting to living this earth, and we are looking at the outer space. We are starting traveling in the cosmic space. The new way of living, technologically very advanced, is coming up. So, 10 avatars, like this, can be understood literally as it stands in Veda. There was a time the great snake Vasuki existed. He was as big as the whole universe, meaning he could be as long like some milliards or millions of kilometers. And there were demons and gods who hold this great snake, one of them for the head and the other ones for his tail, and they started to churning this ocean of milk, and as a result they got a amrita, the nectar of undying. Something happened there, but we are not going to this. Anyway, my point is, if you want, you can believe that such a big snake has existed. He was long like some million kilometers. Okay, but you can see it also another way, symbolically. If you try to see it like that, then you can make it with your life. Then you have no problem with understanding Vedic message. Just digression. So, Krishna, for us, Bengal, Vaishnavas, is very important. Because this fifth Purushartha, Krishna Prema, love of Krishna, comes because of his activities. His activities, when he is supposed to live here for 5,000 years ago, was about very many miracles he did, of which the highest one was about his loving affairs with his devotees. With some, he had a neutral relationship, meaning not real relationship. Neutral, what does it mean? Neutral. I don't care about you. You are just existing. With some, he had the relationship that they became his servants. With the others, he had this relationship. They became his friends. With the others, again, he had this relationship. They became his parents. And with the others, he had another relationship. They became his wives or his beloveds. And this is kind of hierarchical gradation. Neutral, less important than to be servant, has some value, but to be friend is much more valuable. To be parent to Krishna, to God, is very important. And to be his very intimate, like his wives or beloveds, is much more elevated. So, according to our inclination, we can develop a proper relationship with Krishna, and then he will respond. So, those who want to be neutral to him, they can do it. Those who want to serve him, there are ways to serve him. Those who want to be his friends can do it also. Be his parents, it's possible. Be his wives and beloveds, wow, well, it can be done also. And then, if you are in that highest kind of relationship with him, though inside this highest relationship, there are also different grades, of which Krishna Prem, unconditional, loving service to him, is the highest one. So, we, as a Gaudiya Vaishnavas, are mostly interested to serve Krishna unconditionally with love and devotion. And this fifth Purushartha, this Krishna prem, unconditional love of God, goes before God's loves. Because personal relationship has the highest value. So love precedes the law always. So therefore we, as a Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are trying to develop this kind of relationship with Krishna. We are meditating. There are different meditation techniques. Chanting, mantra Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Many times on this Japamala, meaning a necklace of chanting the mantras. It gives us steady mind and then make it possible for us to contemplate some of Krishna's Leelas. Leela is a Sanskrit word meaning play, divine play. So this is fifth Purushartha. This is what we are teaching about. We are not teaching to be a follower of the Vedic society. This is on the material platform. This is in the frame of the four Purusharthas. As we said, Dharma, Artha, Kama and Moksa. Because even if you became self-realized on the platform of impersonal realization, then you will lose your identity. You will become one with everything. Meaning, you will not be no more. It won't be possible, it will be not possible to say who you are and where you are, because everything is one. And then you will lose also the opportunity for the loving exchange with the God, because there will be no difference between you and Him. Everything will become one. We don't believe this philosophy. We think it's like as good as hell, because you are losing yourself. You are not more. And even worse, nothing can be said about this situation. Therefore, on the Indian philosophy's grounds, those who are followers of the Advaita Vedanta, which we call sometimes also Mayavadi way of philosophy, trying to describe what cannot be described, but they are trying anyway. They know it's not possible, because it's out of possibility to describe, because the Brahman, as they say, is indescribable. But they try, so they say, okay, nothing positive can be said about the reality, because it's nirguna, meaning not having any qualities. But as we know, not having qualities is also a quality. So, you understand? If I say that I don't have a quality, this is also a quality in itself. So this is philosophical impossibility. But anyway, they're using word combination, neti. Not this and not that. Trying to describe what is. They cannot say it in a positive way. So they're trying to describe it on a negative way. Because they know the reality has two sides. Nirguna, no qualities, one side of reality. The other one, sat guna. There is a substance. So we are followers of this way, that we believe that we are persons with our senses, with our mind. We are spirit soul, but we are living in this body. And we are using this body to express our love and gratitude to our Creator. Creator, it's also very difficult words in that connection because we are parts of God and God is eternal. So in a real sense, we are not created either. We are emanated from Him. And emanation and to be created is two different things. But for simplicity, usually we are using this term, God is the creator and we are creation. But at the same time, we are aware that philosophically it's not strictly correct. We are eternal. But we are not sum total of reality. Sum total of reality is called Bhagavan in Sanskrit, in Indian philosophy. Bhaga means wealth. Bhagavan, Bhagwan, some say, meaning the one who possesses all qualities, all those bhagas, all this wealth, in a complete way. Meaning, for simplicity, he is most beautiful, most rich, most renounced, etc. Whereas we, living entities, we have also some of these qualities, but only to some degree. That is the difference. And therefore, I said before, that God is not prone to be covered by Maya, but we are. So therefore, our masters, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who came down 500 years ago, called even the covered incarnation, meaning he came in the form of his own devotee, acting as a spiritual master, as a great mystical master, as a human being, you could say, to some degree. He came down for different reasons, but one of the reasons was to make it possible to us to understand that we are at the same time one with God and different of Him. Technically, it's called in our philosophy Achintya Bheda Bheda Vada. Vada means teaching. Achintya means that you can understand this in no way. It's out of capacity of your mind to understand how something can be at the same time one and different. So the key word in this philosophy is the word achintya.
You could say paradoxal or
Yes.
unimaginable.
Yes, of course. So that means that try to understand this by mind, you are going to get nowhere. Therefore, he gave some meditations, exemplifying this by his own life. And then he gets a grand following in his times. There are a lot of stories about this. His life story is written down by one of his grand disciples, Krishna Consciousness Goswami. Most are authoritative description of life of teaching of Lord Chaitanya. So, if you are interested, you can get this book, start to study this, and try to understand something around. But then, if you want to understand it completely, then by meditating in a prescribed way, under the direction of qualified spiritual master, by his grace, you can understand this by the power of your heart. Meaning, the love is a feeling. It's not a thought, it's a feeling. So, to get closest to the God is by loving Him. By developing some relationship that is built on higher feelings. So, we are inviting everybody to go deeper in our philosophy, to read books of Srila Prabhupada, our spiritual master, to read books of other acharyas, meaning teachers in our line, and at the same time practicing this, because by reading only and not following the meditation prescribes, we are not going somewhere. We can only get some intellectual frame, but some intellectual frame does not lead us to be happy. And to be happy is the one thing we're talking this evening about. Everybody wants to be happy. Therefore, we are looking for happiness everywhere. Of course, according to our karma, we are putting this search in different places. Sometimes we are putting it in some people. And because of our karma, we are putting this in the wrong people. Then, instead, for getting love from them, we are getting suffering. And instead, for giving love, we are giving suffering. Because we are not conscious who we are and what to do. What is the higher principle and what is lower principle? How to proceed our life to get real happiness. So therefore, the Vedic scripture says, if you are really wanting to understand who you are, if you are really wanting to be happy, try to understand it. Get spiritual master. Self-realized person, meaning a person who knows who he is. and what is the important thing to do in life. And then, with his help and under his guidance, you are studying scriptures, you are meditating, consulting him when needed, serving him with love and devotion, seeing him as a representation of God, not as God. It's wrong. We have friends who are disciples to some gurus who says they are Mahavishnu, they are God. We are not followers of this philosophy. For us, the guru is some expansion of some qualities of God, but he is not a God. But the duty of the disciple is to see his guru as God for our best. He doesn't need this. He knows who he is. He doesn't want our worship, but we need to worship him. That's the difference. And if we are not able to develop love for our spiritual master, we won't be able to serve him, because we will start to see him as a common human entity, no different from us. Then we will starting to see Hans discomforts or some powers and things like that. And then our fire is destroyed, and then we cannot move. Onto our main goal. So 3 things we will finish. Sambandha, Abhidheya, and Prayojana. These Sanskrit words, very important. Sambandha, describing what is the relationship between God and the living entities. And living entities and God between them also. Sambandha means also to get in touch with yourself, with a God, with a self-realized person. First, this is the first stage, meaning taking spiritual initiations from our Guru. Even the Swedish word, sambandha, is the same as the Sanskrit word, meaning exactly the same. To join together, to have some relationship, depending on context. You see? And then we have the next word, abhideya. Abhideya means the means. Means how to do it, which way to do it. So, and then we have this chanting of Hare Krishna Mahamantra on our beats. We have some different meditations directed to the greater or lesser degree to Krishna, to his leelas, to his pastimes. And it is codified in scriptures written by our acharyas on the line of our spiritual preceptors. You should read those books under guidance of our spiritual masters and under guidance of the other people who we, by our own free will accept as our spiritual guides, called Shiksha Guru technically. Diksha Guru, the one who gives you initiation. Shiksha, the one who gives you instruction. Very often it's the same person, but sometimes, but the providence, it could be that it can be different persons. The Diksha Guru can go away to another reality, or is traveling, so. But we need association, we need sadhusanga, minimization of the person. So then we are taking instructions from others. who has enough good qualities. So, lot of books to read. Chaitanya Charitamrita, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, story of the Krishna's life. Many books describing different leelas of Krishna from different angles, concentrating on this subject, on that subject, just to attract in you what is your main interest, what is your own inclination. And then, at the end, prayojana, meaning the end, meaning the goal, which is prem, which is called prem prayojana. The goal, which is the unconditional love. So, this is it. If you are interested, read books I told you. Come here to the Nimaihuset, get association, try to change your way of life if you are dissatisfied. Try to hear what your heart is saying, not what the mind is saying. Mind is saying many things. It's changing. But the heart usually is right. Because in our heart, we are all good. We are not born dumb or wrong inclinated with bad motivation. We are not. No one of us is understanding himself or herself as a bad man or woman. Even if we are doing wrong things, we think we are doing good things. That's the people who are working in the Auschwitz, killing millions of Jews, they thought they were doing good things, or they master. They were preparing the life space for the for the best of the mankind. For the German people, most intelligent one. Beautiful, strong. They believe this. And they don't consider themselves being murderers. So long it can go. So long you can be in Maya. You are doing terrible things, but you think it's all right. Because you will become, you have become a slave to some ideology. So, you are slaves. All of us. You are identifying with this body. But the Shastra says, the Holy Scripture says clearly, we are not the body. Kshetra and Kshetrajna. Kshetra meaning the field of action, and Kshetrajna, the one who knows the field, who is contemplating the field. That's the living soul. That's we. That's our real spiritual identity. We are the soul. We are not the body. Christians are teaching little differently. They're saying that we are both body and the soul. But the Vedic teaching is quite different. It says we are living entity who are sitting in this body, using it, or is captured in this body because of his former karma. So, this is the point of from we can begin our spiritual search. There's a point from which, if we are lucky, we can get happiness. And happiness, as Shastra is describing, is not from this world. It is for spiritual, because we are spiritual entities. So therefore, nothing which is material never can fully satisfy us. And this is the greatest secret. We are not wanting to tell the others that we want happiness, and that we want that this happiness is complete and never ends. That's what all of us are wanting. So we are trying to fool others. That is not the fact. No, just a little happiness will do. This is not true. We are trying to cheat others. We want complete and everlasting happiness. That's what. Therefore, we are getting so much depressed, because we were trying. We are trying constantly, all the time. Different means. We are trying to get some education, get some good job, very nice life partner. But we are still not satisfied. Why we are not satisfied? That's the real spiritual quest. Not to join this sect or the other sect. Fighting with the other, which sect is better, my or the others. This is the real quest. How to be happy without hurting others. This is another secret. Because of course, I can be very happy if I take you as an instrument for making myself happy. Because I'm sick, I'm using you. But the love means you are serving the other, not exploiting the other. And as long as we are not getting onto the spiritual platform, we are exploiters. We are exploiting the other. That's the truth. That's the spiritual truth. Sooner you understand this, it's better. As long as you're trying to push this understanding away from you, you cannot be helped. So, try, after what we have been talking today, tonight, try to sit and try to see yourself as you are, knowing that in the ground you are pure spiritual entity. That's the beginning of our meditation. You are sitting down and you are not thinking about that you are wrong or person. You are thinking, I'm a very nice spiritual person. I'm very sweet, very good, etc., etc. And then after you finish this meditation, you go out from the state and you are trying to live according to this understanding. Then you can see, after some time, you can see the difference. Today, you are not, it's not possible for you just like that to see the difference, because it's a process. It needs time, different time for different people. More time for some, less time for others. But definitely, it needs a time. So, don't rush, but do it. So, and because it's very difficult to do it all by ourselves, therefore it's good to keep a company with the others who have this understanding. And then, if it's happening to get this association in Nimaihuset, just come here. Just come here and try to do the best of the situation. Enjoy singing Mahamantra Hare Krishna, enjoy the very nice rituals, offering the food, eating prasadam, which is food offered to God, meaning it's completely spiritualized. If you can develop, if you are innocent, then you will understand. This food cannot be eaten. This food has to be honored. Not different from God. And so on. And this company here, it's not just the same company as in some bar on the avenue. It's another kind of association here. So, slowly, slowly, very important words, slowly, slowly, you will get purified. And then you will start to see another values in your life. Then you will start to see the God, some part of him, or them, or her, as you like to define, according to different modes. So some women are prone to see the reality as her. Okay, no problem. That's true. Those who are very manish, it was since patriarchal times, so it was always him. But it's not true either, completely. It's partly true. Therefore, we are worshipping Radha Krishna. Krishna being a male and Radha being a female. Or on another line, Krishna symbolizing or representing, maybe better word, the passive principle, and Radha, feminine, representing the active principle. God and his highest emanation, which is love. Radharani, Radha, Srimati Radharani, is personification of the love of God. So, when we worshipping Radha Krishna on our altar, we are not worshipping some idols. They are made, of course, Radha Krishna, they are made of some piece of metal, of tree. But then, we are doing something which is called prana pratishta. By some ritual, we are putting life into the deities. Of course, you have to have faith in that. Because without this, nothing can happen. And then you understand from this point, no longer anymore is that piece of metal, two pieces, Radha and Krishna. They lordship, Shri Shri Radha and Krishna. Looking at you day and night, knowing what you are thinking to do. If you are really regretting if you have done wrong, if your intentions are pure, then the change is possible. Without this, the change is not possible. Okay, you can sit down, you can do some meditations, but if you are not changing yourself after doing this, it's all bullshit. It's piece of shit. It's nonsense. Just taking your important time from you. The change, if you are able to change our hearts and our way of doing things, that's the proof we are progressing in Krishna consciousness. Our Guru Dev Srila Prabhupada called this process developing a Krishna consciousness or reviving Krishna consciousness. Two ways of expressing the same thing. You are coming back to the place where you belong. You are coming to the consciousness which is you. Therefore, you are here. So, now I will quit. if there are some questions, I will try to answer. If not, we will play something. I will play some simple tunes, and we will sing Mahamantra. Maybe another song, depending on, but mostly Mahamantra. This time, trying to put away conceptions, just opening our hearts on the divine mantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Which describes the different qualities of the Godhead. But this I can answer. So